me Prince, aka Harry, has jumped on a jet and is set to travel 17,000 miles on a round trip to Japan and Singapore for a number of charity events that include a polo match. That is, of course, despite condemning climate change as one of the two most pressing issues facing the world right now. This comes as both Harry and Megs, who, by the way, has stayed back at home with the kids, have also quietly had their HRH titles scrubbed from the royal family's website, which, if you remember, under the terms of the Mexico Agreement in 2020, the palace said they could retain but would not be allowed to use after stepping down as senior royals. But even so, parts of that royal website are still referred to the Duke and Duchess as HRH for the last 3 years. But on the website now, they are simply known as the Duke and she for Meghan, not his or her Royal Highnesses, which fills me full of joy. Joining me to chew the fat are two fantastic people. TalkTV royal editor Sarah Hewson on the family holiday in Norfolk, but good enough to join me, and host of the To Die For Daily podcast, Kinsey Schofield. Oh, I love her. Joins me from LA. Ladies, explain this to me, Sarah. So the Duke, worried about climate change, has flown halfway around the bleeding world during a cost of living crisis to play polo. Ludicrous look.
Yeah, when you put it like that, Jeremy, it doesn't sound great, does it? But actually, this is for a really important cause. He's on this mini Asia tour. He started off in Japan, where he's attending a sport and philanthropy summit on behalf of his charity, Centre Barley. And then he heads off to Singapore, and there he's going to take part in a polo match that takes place every year. And it has so far raised around £11 million for Centre Barley, the charity that he founded with Prince Seso of Lesotho many, many years ago. I've been out to Lesotho, Jeremy. I've seen the work that the charity does, supporting young people with HIV and AIDS. It is really important. And at least that this travel that Prince Harry is doing is for a good cause, and it's for other people rather than talking about himself.
Do you know why I love you, Sarah, and I've missed you over the last 3 weeks, is you absolutely put me right in my place there, didn't you? Well done. But also, you will understand, Kins, won't you, when you pontificate a lot about, you know, climate change. Maybe the PR, as Sarah says, maybe they should be talking about the fact that this charity, which has done wonderful things with HIV, but they don't, of course. All we hear about is he's gone 17,000 miles to play polo. Now, I, of course, am going to add another layer to this, and Sarah Hewson will give me that school teacher look. She stayed at home, ain't she, the Duchess? And there's quite a few rumours this side of the pond that things aren't all sweet and happy in the Montecito mansion. Fill us in, Kins.
Well, what I will say, because I completely agree with Sarah, is Prince Harry listening to us is the question I would want to ask, because it does seem like he's thrusting all of his energy into some of these causes that we missed seeing him participate in. And so, yes, there are those rumors on this side of the pond, too, that everything is not hunky-dory. Harry and Meghan's friends are saying that's absolutely false. But then I'd kind of whisper to you that, Diana and Charles for a decade said everything was fine behind the scenes as well. But I think that this is an example of Prince Harry doing what the public has requested of him over the last few years.
Maybe that's the point, Sarah. Maybe he's going back to basics. Maybe that's the case. What I am interested in, so she's giving me that look again, their HRH titles have been removed. Joy. This was said to be happening 3 years ago, but it sort of happened quietly over this weekend, right? What does it mean?
Yeah, 3 years ago, as part of the Megxit agreement, it was decided that they wouldn't actually lose the HRH titles officially, but they would stop using them in official work because they were no longer working members of the royal family. But there were a few references to them on the royal website, still as His Royal Highness and Her Royal Highness. There's been some housekeeping going on, it seems, on the royal website, and they have now been referred to as only Prince Harry or the Duke and the Duchess of Sussex.
Why now, Sarah? Why now? Do you know why now?
It's taken a while. Buckingham Palace issued a statement about this because I think, it certainly piqued interest, didn't it? And they've issued a statement saying that they've been doing work on the royal website since the death of the Queen to change titles. So actually, we've also seen, for example, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge have their titles updated to the Prince and Princess of Wales. There were a couple of references still to the Prince of Wales, Prince Charles as the Prince of Wales. So they've been doing that. 5,000 pages they've had to update. It's taken a while, but they've kind of getting it in order.
Do you know what, Sarah Houston? You are so brilliantly straight down the line. I love it. Kins, one of the things, just very quickly from both of you, Meet Me at the Lake, this book that £3 million has been spent. By the way, it's taken out of that money from Netflix. This is the film that is going to galvanise their Hollywood career. I just wanted to ask one thing that struck me after we spoke the other day. Apparently, as I say, it's come from Netflix. Apparently, it mirrors their lives and it's going to be a huge thing. I worry somewhat about their inability to make any sort of correct decision, because unless I'm missing the point, as somebody said to me this morning, I thought that every studio in LA, every director and actor is on strike right now. So when are those two ridiculous people going to actually make this film?
Yeah, we have a writers and actors strike currently happening. Fortune magazine this week reporting no end in sight. So it will take years. But you're right. It's actually Netflix that ponied up the money for the rights to this book. Carly, the author, also a William Morris Endeavour client with Meghan Markle,
Yeah.
a fan of Meghan Markle. So Netflix is going to put all of their energy into ensuring that this is a success, Jeremy, because they don't want to have egg on their face like Spotify did. And there are writers and actors that are striking that are very unhappy with deals like this Netflix, when handing these two people that haven't executed anything themselves all of this money. So Netflix is going to ensure that this is a success.
Well, let's hope so, because the Spotify podcast was rubbish. Sarah, just to finish, Meet Me at the Lake. What do you think? You know, come on, come on. It's not going to work, is it? Nothing they do works.
Well, I mean, look, where is their producing pedigree? Meghan may have acted in Suits, but she certainly hasn't got experience in producing a big fiction hit, has she? No. And her last efforts, Pearl, the animated series she was producing for Netflix, got dropped before it even got off the ground. Prince Harry, well, what could he bring to the table on this? Who knows? There's going to have to be a lot of support. As Kinsey was saying, Netflix need this to be a success. This is the next step. It is a project not about them, which I guess you should be feeling pretty relieved about, Jeremy, if that's the direction that they're going to be taking. But it's going to be a steep learning curve.
Can I suggest, because I love speaking to you, I mean, some people cynically would say they acted during that Netflix thing. Just behind Sarah Houston's head on her lovely wall in Norfolk, it says less is more. Why don't you take that down and send that to Harry and Meghan and just tell them that's what we all think. Both of you, thank you so much indeed for being